Hi, boys and girls. As promised, here we go. Magic Treehouse book number 26. Good Morning Gorillas. I know we started this, but we didn't get to finish it, so I'm just going to start from the beginning. Follow along, if you will, please. You can read along with me. Hopefully I can get at least 5 chapters done, and we'll try to get one book done for each week. Hope you enjoy it. See you later. Magic Treehouse, number 26, Good Morning Gorillas, by Mary Pope Osborne. Table of Contents. Prologue. Chapter 1, Dark and Rainy. Chapter 2, Cloud Forest. Chapter 3, Boo Boo. Chapter 4, Nightmare. Chapter 5, Silverback. Chapter 6, Good Morning Gorillas. Chapter 7, Eating Out. Chapter 8, A Special Language. Chapter 9, Goodbye Gorillas. And Chapter 10, A Special Magic. Enjoy the book, boys and girls. Prologue. One summer day in Frog Creek, Pennsylvania, a mysterious treehouse appeared in the woods. Jack and Annie, 8-year-old Jack, and his 7-year-old sister Annie climbed into the treehouse. They found that it was filled with, and you fill in the blank. Jack and Annie soon discovered that the treehouse was. It could take them to the places in the. All they had to do was point to a picture and wish to go there. While they were gone, no time passes at all in Frog Creek. Along the way, Jack and Annie discovered that the treehouse belongs to. Morgan is a magical of the long ago kingdom of King Arthur. She travels through time and space gathering books. In Magic Treehouse books 5 through 8, Jack and Annie help free Morgan from a spell. In books 9 through 12, they solve 4 ancient riddles and become. In Magic Treehouse books number 13 through 16, Jack and Annie have to save 4 ancient stories from being lost forever. In Magic Treehouse books 17 through 20, Jack and Annie free a mysterious little dog from a magic. In Magic Treehouse books 21 through 24, Jack and Annie help save Camelot. In Magic Treehouse books number 25 through 28, Jack and Annie will learn about different kinds of magic. Chapter 1, Dark and Rainy. Tap, tap, tap. Jack sat up in bed. Rain tapped against his window. His clock said 5 a.m. It was still dark outside. Annie peeked into his room. "Are you awake?" she whispered. "Yep," said Jack. "Ready to find some special magic?" she asked. Maybe we should wait," said Jack. "It's so dark and rainy." "No waiting," said Annie. "I'll get my umbrella. You bring a flashlight. Meet you downstairs." Okay, said Jack. He jumped out of bed. He pulled on his clothes and put on a jacket. And then he grabbed his backpack and flashlight. Jack slipped downstairs and out the front door. Annie stood on the porch in jeans and a t-shirt. The air was chilly and breezy. "Whew, don't you need a sweater or something?" said Jack. "I'm okay," she said. "Let's go." Annie raised the umbrella. Jack turned on the flashlight. They followed a circle of rainy light down their street into the woods. They headed through the Frog Creek woods. The flashlight lit up the trees, the wet leaves, and dark branches, and then it shined on a dangling rope ladder. Jack raised the flashlight beam. There it is, he said. A circle of light lit the magic tree house. Morgan's not there, said Annie. I can tell. Well, maybe she left us a message, said Jack. Jack grabbed the rope ladder and started up. Annie put the umbrella down and followed. Then they climbed inside. Jack shined the flashlight around the treehouse. Morgan Le Fay wasn't there, but the scrolls from the trip to Old England were. Here's proof we found a special magic yesterday, she said. Yeah, said Jack, smiling. Theater magic. He had great memories of acting in a play by their friend, William Shakespeare. Did Morgan leave us a new secret rhyme? Asked Jack. He shined the flashlight on the book lying under the window. A piece of paper was sticking out of the book. Yes, said Annie. She picked up the book and pulled out the paper. Jack shined his light on the paper while Annie read aloud. Dear Annie and Jack, good luck on your second journey to find a special magic. This secret rhyme will guide you to find a special kind of magic in worlds so far apart. Speak a special language. Talk with your hands and heart. Thank you, Morgan. What kind of language does she mean? Jack asked. I guess we'll find out, said Annie. Where are we going? Jack shined the flashlight on the cover of the book. It showed huge trees partly hidden by mist. The title was An African Rainforest. Rainforest, said Jack. Good thing we brought our umbrella and flashlight. Remember the rain in the Amazon rainforest? Remember how dark it was under the treetops? Yeah, said Annie. Remember the spiders and scary ants? Well, Jack said, not all rainforests have the same bugs. Remember the river snakes, said Annie, and the crocodiles? Well, said Jack, not all rainforests have big rivers. There are different kinds of rainforests, you know. Right, said Annie. She pointed to the cover of the book. What do you think they said? I wish we could go there. And the wind started to blow. Oh, remember the jaguar, said Annie, and the vampire bats? Wait, said Jack. But it was too late. The wind was blowing harder. The treehouse started to spin. It spun faster and faster. Then everything was still. And you finished the story. Chapter 2 Cloud Forest. Jack opened his eyes. I can't wait. I can't tell what kind of rainforest this is, said Annie. She stared out the window. Jack looked out too. It seemed to be a daytime, but he couldn't see much of anything. The quiet forest was covered with fog. Jack opened their research book and read, The misty rainforest in the mountains of Central Africa is called a cloud forest. Oh, I get it, said Annie. We're up so high, it's like we're in a cloud. Cool, said Jack. He pulled out his notebook and wrote, Cloud forest, rainforest high up in the mountains. And then he read more. An African cloud forest is home to many animals, including elephants, water buffaloes, black leopards. Jack looked up. Black leopards, he said. Don't worry, said Annie. Jack cleared his throat and kept reading. Antelopes, wild hogs, and gorillas. Gorillas, said Annie. Don't worry, said Jack. I'm not worried. I love gorillas, said Annie. And they're totally great. I don't know about that, said Jack. He pictured huge apes pounding their chest. I'd like to study them, though. Write down their habits and behavior, just like a real scientist. Whatever, said Annie. Let's just go. This'll be a fun adventure. And she took off down the ladder. Jack threw his notebook, his research book, and the flashlight into his pack. He hooked the umbrella over his arm, and then he followed Annie. When they stepped onto the ground, Jack could see better. The fog had turned into a fine mist. Jack and Annie started through the cloud forest. They walked through huge trees draped with moss. They pushed past tall shrubs and leafy plants. Wow, look at that tree, said Annie. She pointed to a fat tree. It had wide lower limbs padded with thick cushions of moss. It looks like a piece of furniture, said Annie. Like an armchair. Yeah, said Jack. I better draw it. He put the umbrella on the ground. He pulled the flashlight out of his pack and put it next to the umbrella, and then he took out his notebook and pencil. As Annie walked ahead, Jack started to draw a simple picture of the fat tree. Hey, Jack, Annie called in a whispery voice. Come here, quick! Jack grabbed his pack. He moved around the tree and caught up with Annie. Listen, she said. Jack heard branches snap. Crack? A leopard, he thought. Crack? Crack? Jack nervously looked around the forest. Maybe we should just go back up to the treehouse, he said. We could read a little bit more and learn a little more. Annie didn't answer. Jack turned to her. She was grinning from ear to ear as she stared into the bushes. Jack followed her gaze. A dark, shaggy little head was peeking out from a cluster of leaves. Boo, boo, a small gorilla asked. Chapter 3. Boo Boo. The gorilla's fur was very black against the green leaves. She had large nostrils and small ears. Her bright brown eyes were full of mischief. Boo, 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 she said. Boo, boo. Well, boo boo yourself, said Annie. The gorilla hid behind the leaves again, and then she poked her head out. Peekaboo, said Annie. The gorilla clapped her hands together. She stuck out her tongue. Jack and Annie both laughed. Boo, 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 the gorilla said, and then she bounded away through the misty forest. Hey, Boo Boo, don't leave us, Annie called. Jack rolled his eyes. Don't name her Boo Boo, he said to Annie. You don't have to. Wait, Boo Boo, Annie shouted. She took off after the small gorilla. Turn every animal into your best friend, Jack finished. She shook his head, and then he made a list in his notebook. Gorilla behavior. Plays peekaboo. Claps hands. Sticks out tongue. As he wrote, Jack heard Annie laughing, but then he heard high shrieks. He caught his breath. A leopard? He wondered. Carrying his notebook, Jack hurried in the direction of the noise. He found Annie and the small gorilla perched in two trees. What's wrong? Said Jack, standing beneath the trees. Nothing, called Annie. We're just playing. The small gorilla screeched again, and then she scratched her head and hiccuped. Annie screeched too. She scratched her head and hiccuped. While they played, Jack studied the gorilla a bit more. He noticed that she was about the size of a 3-year-old kid. Her fingers looked like human fingers. They even had fingernails. He made a new list. Young gorilla, size of a 3-year-old, fingers like humans, fingernails. Jack heard the tree leaves shaking. He looked up. Annie and the gorilla had both climbed higher. Hey, come down, Annie, Jack called. You might fall. Plus, it's getting dark. Jack looked around. Light was fading quickly from the forest. Is night falling? He wondered. Or is a storm coming? The small gorilla screeched again and climbed even higher. Hey, Boo Boo, where are you going? Said Annie. She climbed even higher, too. That's enough, Annie. Come down now, said Jack. I'm serious. To his relief, the gorilla settled on a branch. Annie did the same. The gorilla broke off a piece of tree bark. She nibbled it like a candy bar. Annie broke off a piece of bark. She nibbled it like a candy bar, too. The gorilla threw down her bark. She grabbed a tree branch and swung to another tree. Don't try it, Annie, shouted Jack. But his warning came too late. Annie threw down her bark. She grabbed a tree branch and tried to swing to another tree. Annie didn't swing like a gorilla. She fell from the tree and crashed down to the ground near Jack. Annie, he cried. Tomorrow, we'll pick up with Chapter 4, Nightmare. See you tomorrow. Bye.